Hey everybody, welcome back to Drinks and a Movie. Chris Hamker back with you. Today we'll be talking about the new Marvel movie Doctor Strange. But first, let's of course start with the drink. Today's drink, we'll be making a drink called the Dynamic Diamond. And I know what you're thinking, it doesn't sound anything like, magic or sorcery or comic books or anything, but bear with me. It's gonna be pretty cool and it's got a little twist at the end. So, the Dynamic Diamond is 1 part vodka, 1 part triple sec, 1 part lime juice, and a 1/2 to 3/4 part, get ready for this, red cabbage juice. Now, red cabbage juice is really easy to make. You just shave off some red cabbage, put it in a safe bowl to boil or microwave, boil it up in the water, add a pinch or 2 of baking soda, let that boil up, let it sit for a little while, a couple hours, and then you have your red cabbage juice. So let's make this drink. I'm excited. Here we go. So into a martini glass, we start with the 1 part vodka. Splash it in there like that. That's what all good bartenders do. 1 part triple sec. And then the 3/4 part, so I'm gonna do a 1/2 and then maybe a little extra of the red cabbage juice. It's gonna be like a little bluish green. There we go. And then the 1 part lime juice. And I'm gonna try to get a little bit closer to the camera. So hopefully you can see this, because this is gonna be pretty awesome. All right, here we go. So you have your drink, your glass, and then we're gonna do a little bit magic, a little strange magic, a little Doc Strange here. All right, here we go. It's pink now, look at that, that's amazing. We'll see how this tastes. It is cabbage juice, so I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but cheers everybody. Here's the Doctor Strange, a little alcohol magic trick for you. Cheers everybody. Doctor Strange is written and directed by Scott Derrickson and stars Benedict Cumberbatch as the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Stephen Strange. And this is the 14th entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this time they're introducing a new character, Stephen Strange, a neurosurgeon, a brilliant neurosurgeon who gets in a car accident and loses the use of his hands. Pretty much the only, the sole reason of his, his money, his fame, his notoriety. He gets terrible nerve damage to where he can't use his hands. So he decides to go seek Eastern medicine when Western medicine has failed him. So he goes to Kathmandu in Nepal to seek alternative medicines, and he finds out, just like Jon Snow, he knows nothing of the magical realm around him and the multiverse, and then he starts learning to become, hopefully, the Sorcerer Supreme. And I spent the entire weekend thinking about this movie, and it wasn't because I didn't understand it or couldn't wrap my head around it. It was because I left the movie thinking, I mean, it's fine, I guess. And I was trying to think of the right way to describe it to you guys as to why I felt this way, as to what my feelings were. And today it dawned on me. So today I realized that this movie is like going to one of those David Copperfield Vegas-style magic shows with all the lights, pyrotechnics, big machines, scantily clad women, and loud noises. And it's pretty much a bunch of misdirection and spectacle so that you don't see kind of what's really going on or the trick or how they do things. So you sit there, you enjoy the ride of the trick, you go, ooh, look at all the fireworks, what's that machine, what's he gonna do next? Loud noises, and then the trick happens and it blows your mind. But then when you sit back and really think about it, you see that there's not much there. There's really just a guy falling through a trap door, or there's actually 2 girls and they're really scrunched up and it looks like they were actually sawed in half when they really weren't. Or you get an Iron Man-esque, by-the-numbers origin story and not much more, and that's kind of what we got. Look, the cast of this movie is great, and they really took the material that they were given and really took it seriously. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is great as Doctor Strange. Tilda Swinton is really good as the Ancient One. Chiwetel Ejiofor is really cool as Mordo, and he's this kind of trainer slash friend that Strange runs into when he's learning about the mystic arts. And also one of my favorite characters who added a lot of humor, sometimes really forced humor, not all the jokes landed, but the character of Wong, played by Benedict Wong. And his interactions with Strange were really good. And so I thought the cast was great. I mean, this movie, though, still runs into the same problem of having a villain that doesn't really have much to do. And this one is really kind of in the background. But luckily, they got a guy like Mads Mikkelsen who doesn't seem to be able to turn in a bad performance. And he was really good. He just, once again, just didn't have much to do. The sorcerers really didn't have very many powers either. I mean, you saw them do a handful of things and, you know, like make shields or create these whips slash lassos, and you see this stuff in the trailer. And there's also, of course, the mind-bending cities folding in on itself, Inception times 1,000, that, don't get me wrong, looked amazing. I mean, truly, there are things in this film that I've never seen before, and it was even sometimes a bit much. There were times where I didn't know where to look or if I was missing things or what was going on, and I guess that was part of the point, because it was just, you know, trying to confuse the characters along with the audience. But, you know, trust me, this stuff is I mean, the special effects are really top-notch. But I guess I wish there were a few more creative magical spells that they showed you. I mean, and that movie, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, had more creativity when it came to that stuff. Luckily, they had things like relics, which are like magical items that the characters use, like the Cloak of Levitation, which was really cool and kind of had this Aladdin's magic carpet feel to it. And I had a lot of fun with that stuff, and those things were creative, but yeah, I wanted more magic. Just, I mean, even give it to me in the background a little bit. You know, they don't have to have it front and center, but just a little taste here and there. Maybe stuff of what might be coming down the pipeline. Filmmakers also don't do a very good job at the passage of time in this movie. It's just they don't give any indication as to how much time has passed during the course of the film. Is it months? Is it weeks? Is it years? I mean, you just don't know. You assume it's a lot of time, but they don't really say, and it's very unclear. So the other thing I had a problem with this, and it was kind of a big problem, but it can also, I guess, be seen as a little nitpicky, but I don't know. I don't really see it this way. Now, my wife and I have an inside knowledge of the medical field, her much more than me, admittedly, but we know the inner workings of an emergency room or an operating room, and the medicine that they practice in this movie is wildly and extraordinarily inaccurate, offensively inaccurate, really, to anybody who knows any better. And it was as if they weren't even trying to do it right. I mean, I doubt that they even had a medical advisor on staff to where they could turn and go to, hey, is this how it's done? And they would say, no, it isn't. All of this is wrong. And that's a huge problem. And I know what everybody's going to say. You're going to go, Chris, nobody's even going to care because nobody's going to notice. And I have a couple of reactions to that. One, your movie is called Doctor Strange, which, to me, if doctor is in the title of your movie, you should at least get the medicine a little bit right. Second, there are upwards of 3 separate scenes that either show how brilliant of a surgeon he is, or you know, are scenes that, you know, build tension, that are set in either an emergency room or an operating room. If you have these things in there, if there's multiple scenes, you really should get them just a little bit right. And I know what you guys are going to say. Most people won't notice this stuff because they don't have a frame of reference, and I get that. But let me just give you a little short metaphor to explain what I'm talking about. So imagine if the movie was called Shortstop Strange, and he was a great baseball player. He's one of the best baseball players in the world. And when they go to, you know, show how great a baseball player he is, They go and depict a baseball game, but instead of a baseball diamond, there's a hexagon. They're using tennis rackets, and there's 40 people on the field, and you go, what the fuck am I even looking at? This isn't even baseball. This is nowhere close to baseball. That's the feeling we got when we saw this, because the stuff just didn't... It was done badly. I mean, we're not saying it has to be 100% accurate, but most of the things they got wrong, you can Google and get it right. And just, I'm just asking the writers not to be lazy. Now look, I know, it sounds like I'm shitting all over this movie, and I hated it. And I didn't hate this movie. I actually really liked the ending. The ending was probably the best part of the movie for me, and you don't always get that in these superhero movies. They came up with a really clever, creative way to beat the bad guy that I've honestly not seen before. It wasn't just punching and a big blue light up in the sky like so many comic book movies are doing of late. Look, I like the character of Doctor Strange. The introduction of him, along with magic and the multiverse into the MCU, lends itself to some pretty exciting opportunities in the future. And I just wish, you know, they'd have done it better and thought a little bit more about not just the visuals. I mean, it just seemed like that all they were was about the visuals and the magic. I'm sorry, that was weird. Look, I didn't hate the movie. I just thought it was kind of blah and really mediocre. So I'm giving this movie a 2 drinks out of 5. Not a fan. I'm gonna try seeing it again in IMAX 3D. I hear it's really spectacular there, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm being too hard on it. Let me know where you rank it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's 14 films now. It's a lot. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. You know, subscribe down here at the bottom if you like this. There's going to be plenty more where this came from coming up this holiday season. A lot of movies coming out. I'm excited. Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Have a drink on me.